will be the next Greene County Sheriff. For the next hour, you'll hear from the candidates seeking the opportunity to serve you and head up the county's leading law enforcement agency. Hello, I'm Diana Davis. We're joining you from the K8 News studio for an in-depth look at the candidates and issues voters will face during the primary election on March 3rd. During this debate, we'll ask a wide range of questions. We'll also take time to answer questions directly from you at home. The men vying for the sheriff's position include current Sheriff Brad Snyder and former Jonesboro police officer John Shipman. Before we go forward, we have some rules to inform the debate participants. Each debate segment will cover a broad theme of topics. Each candidate will receive 2 minutes for opening remarks and closing remarks. Each candidate will receive 1 minute and 45 seconds to answer each question. Time limits will be strictly observed. The moderator may restate a question. The moderator may interrupt a candidate if they believe he is straying from the subject. The order of statements and responses was determined by an envelope drawing before the debate. The person who drew number 1 will give the first opening statement, followed by 2, and go in reverse order for the closing remarks, meaning the second candidate will close first. This ensures that every candidate gets 1 turn to be the first and last to speak. All of your mics will be on throughout the duration of the debate. And now for opening statements, we start with Brad Snyder. You have 2 minutes.
Hello, Greene County. This is Brad Snyder. I've been your sheriff now for 3 years and now a month. You elected me in 2022 to serve in the role of sheriff. Prior to my role as the sheriff, I spent almost 22 years with the city of Paragould, rising from the ranks of patrolman all the way to the rank of captain in the command staff of the police department. Prior to that time, I served as a dispatcher starting at 19 years old at the Greene County Sheriff's Office and on to deputy sheriff before transferring over to the police department. I am married to Dara, who was a 23-year educator at Greene County Tech before stepping away from that and becoming an Arkansas State Police driver's license examiner. We have 2 children. Gage is a electrician apprentice with Edgar Electric, as well as the youth director for Westview Baptist Church in Paragould. My daughter is a freshman at Greene County Tech and is a student council president, all A student, and we're very proud of both of our kids. I've spent the last 3 years working on updating the sheriff's office and the detention center, both from a technology viewpoint as also the facilities. They had been needing to be upgraded and maintained. So we've come a long way in those 3 years. We still have ways to go with things that we need to correct and to improve. And so we were working hard on that for the next coming years. I would appreciate your vote this upcoming election and look forward to serving you for the years coming forth.
Thank you, Brad Snyder. And now, John Shipman, your opening statement. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you. I appreciate you all having us here and having this debate. I think it's very important for the citizens of Greene County to hear from both of us and make a well-informed when they cast their vote. I was born and raised in Greene County. I was raised in a little community out west of Light called Walnut Corner, and that's where we lived till I was 13, and my father moved back to the family land on what back then was known as, and to some still today, as Billy Goat Hill, Cawthorn Road. Today it is 712 Road. My father served Greene County for almost 20 years as county judge, so serving Greene County runs deep in my blood, and I understand what it takes to serve. I attended Greene County Tech, and then when I was in the 6th grade, my family moved me, my brother, and sister to Croler's Ridge Academy. I graduated from Croler's Ridge Academy in 1984 as the class president. I attended Croler's Ridge College for 2 years, where I helped them reestablish their basketball program. After 2 years at Croler's Ridge College, I joined the United States Marine Corps. I continued to excel while I was in the Marines. I was meritoriously promoted out of boot camp, graduating first in my class. Some of the characteristics and qualifications to graduate first out of boot camp in the military is leadership skills. Also, how to handle stressful situations. How do you handle everybody when you're under fire? Your ability to get things done in a quickly, timely manner. So those are the things that I learned while I was in the military. I came home shortly thereafter. I got into law enforcement in 1998. I did retire, Diana, in 2019, but I am back at the Jonesboro Police Department. I came back in fall of 2024, and I'm currently there now working again full-time in the school resource program. I hope to be able, as we get through this debate, to tell all the things I accomplished while working for the good citizens of Jonesboro.
All right, thank you, John Shipman. And now we move on to our very first question. What do you feel is the most important issue facing the next person who assumes this position? A reminder, you have 1:45 seconds. John Shipman, how would you respond?
I think the most important issue facing the sheriff of Greene County is we know that everybody knows that we're going to provide coverage. I mean, the days of the county not being covered, that went away years ago. Everybody's going to do the 24/7. But I think the most important issue is transparency out of the sheriff's office, professionalism, and understanding what the citizens of the county expect out of their sheriff's office. We need to make sure that we do our reports. We need to make sure that we wear our body cams. We need to make sure that the citizens feel that when the sheriff's office shows up, they're there to help. Greene County is growing. The county is growing. Subdivisions are popping up all over the place. We got to make sure that we patrol these neighborhoods. Our farmland, our agricultural is so important. We got to get out there and protect the farmers, their land, their property. Tractors nowadays and combines are $500,000 up to $1 million or more. So I think that under my administration, we will concentrate very hard on providing service to the county, be very professional while doing it, and the citizens will know that when we show up, we're there, we're going to listen, and we're going to care.
Thank you. Brad Snyder, the same question. What do you feel is the most important issue facing the next person who assumes this position?
Well, I think a lot of folks are probably not in the mindset of knowing what the sheriff's responsibility is. We are responsible for the protection of our county residents. We are responsible for court security at the courthouse. We are responsible for the jail. As I've told people many, many times lately, my badge and gun could be left in my desk drawer and I would never need to see it again for the rest of my career. What the biggest things facing the sheriff going forward is to make sure that our jail stays up to standards, it stays within its budget, also that we are able to provide plenty of resources to not only our deputies and detention center officers, but also the residents of our county. As you may know, county budgets are a lot smaller than municipal budgets, and so it does take more planning, preparation, and management to get that done to where you can operate within the funds that are available to our counties. So going forward, a big thing is making sure we stay up to date with technology, we stay up to date with manpower, trying to add that when we can so that we can better protect the residents and we can properly manage the facilities.
All right, thank you. Moving on to our next question. Every law enforcement agency operates within constraints, whether it's personnel, equipment, funding, or facilities. Are there any areas where you believe the sheriff's office is under-resourced or over-resourced? How would you address that? Brad Snyder, you have 1:45 seconds.
I mentioned just previously about managing and maintaining and operating within budgets. Greene County is very, very fortunate that beginning back in 2020 under Sheriff Frank's administration, the Greene County Detention Center began housing U.S. Marshals inmates from around the country. That provides the county with an exorbitant amount of money toward the budget, which also allows us to be self-sufficient. In other words, the sheriff's office and the detention center are not funded by county general funds. They are self-funded. So with that said, we are in a very good place to where we can fund the needed repairs, the personnel, the equipment that our employees need to do their job very well. There is another fund that we have that is at the sheriff's discretion. It's called the Sheriff's Communications and Equipment Fund. That comes from revenues from commissary, things of that nature from the inmates, and we are able to use that to buy vehicles, to buy equipment, things to help with the jail mats, blankets, whatnot. And so we are able to self-sustain and do well in that area as far as finances. As far as under-resourced, I would love to see additional detention officers as well as additional deputy sheriffs to increase our visibility and increase the safety for those back in the jail.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Snyder. Now, the same question, Mr. Shipman, are there any areas where you believe the sheriff's office is under-resourced or over-resourced, and how would you address that?
I don't know of a law enforcement agency anywhere that's oversourced. I can't think of one. They are plenty of them that are under-resourced. What I see in Greene County is, as Brad just said, Greene County is blessed to have the state and federal inmate income coming in. It does self-sufficient, take care of the sheriff's office and the jail. That was started under, as he said, Sarah Springs. My father Jerry built that jail in 2012. So it went from 88 beds to over 500 beds back then. It brings in money, but there's also a portion of a sales tax that's still there for maintenance and upkeep. We can take what's the jail and the budget is doing by itself, and we should not have an under-resourced. I would take the money from the jail and some of the money that's being made, and I would bring back the K-9 division to the Greene County Sheriff's Office. That can be done through that. It can also be done through partners with businesses in the city or out in the county. A K-9 division in any law enforcement agency is one of the best tools that you can have. That's another law enforcement officer in the vehicle. We associate K-9s with searching cars, and that's true, they do. They can do one in under 2 minutes, but they can also help us with missing children, a fugitive on the ground, or a vulnerable adult that's lost. We don't need to be calling other agencies into Greene County with the money that we have, making it off this program. We do not need to be bringing them in and waiting on help. We need to be the help.
Mr. Shipman, thank you. Moving on to our next question, Greene County, like many communities, faces the dual challenge of maintaining public safety while fostering positive relationships between law enforcement and the residents it serves. What is your philosophy on community policing, and how would you implement it in Greene County? The question goes to John Shipman. You have 1:45 seconds.
Community policing is very valuable to law enforcement, and that happens to be something that I know a little bit about. I spent many years on the streets of Jonesboro, and one time we had the COPS program. I have been in our community. That's one thing that I have done as a law enforcement officer. I have tried to connect myself with as many people as I possibly can, especially our children. As you know that you've done a story on some basketball goals that we gave away and put up and played basketball with them. We stop and we talk to our kids. I love to hand out the police stickers. I'm in our schools right now. And you'll get asked every day, do you have a sticker? Do you have a sticker? And I think every officer should carry those with them and hand them out. So community policing, it's more geared to police agencies because of how, the cities are confined and close together. But we could do this at the sheriff's office. It'd be very easy to start community policing in our sheriff's department. Get out there and know who everybody is. They know who the deputies are. So community policing is the bridge between the law enforcement and a community, because the community is the police and the police is the community. And I think that that is being a people person and understanding all the years that I've spent down here and connecting with our citizens. I will bring that to Greene County.
All right, thank you. The same question, what is your philosophy on how community policing and how would you implement it in Greene County? Brad Snyder.
So going back to my history with the police department, I spent 8 years as a DARE officer in the school districts. Along with that role, I spent it as the public information officer, and were assigned to numerous public events, public speaking events, things of that nature. Obviously, community policing is a huge deal. It's very important that our residents know that they're being protected, that they see these deputies out and about. We have made a conscious effort to make sure that we're patrolling areas like that are extended, say like Delaplane, the Leif, and even assist Marmaduke and their police department. But just being seen, stopping and talking to people, stopping and asking them what issues they're having in their areas. You know, as you know, Greene County is 580 square miles, and so a lot of that is very rural. It's very agricultural. And so while it's important for us to be in those areas as well, and we are, it's also important to make sure that we check in with our neighbors in our smaller communities in the county. We also have school resource officers in both Greene County Tech and now CRA for the first time in history. So we've added an SRO at Greene County Tech to bring us up to 4, and we do have the one at CRA. So we are implementing some of those measures as we speak.
All right, thank you. Moving on to our next question. Corrections work is stressful and often causes burnout. The work that happens behind jail walls carries a weight that few outside the system fully understand. What can you do to alleviate that and keep staff? Brad Snyder, you have 1:45.
So this is an outstanding question. Living in those walls, and I say living because the employees are working 12-hour shifts in those walls. They don't get a chance to leave. They don't get to go take a lunch break. So morale is a big thing, and it's providing the safe working environment, giving them the equipment that they need, and also trying to give them some amenities to help ease that time that they're there. One of the things that I implemented was a small, it's basically like a small convenience store. We've partnered with a vendor, and they provide sandwiches, wraps, sodas, energy drinks, candy bars, you name it, for these jailers to visit while they're in the building, while they're on shift, if they've forgotten their lunch. We've tried to alleviate them door dashing and things like that, because that's pretty expensive on a jailer salary. So we are working on making sure that the working environment is appropriate, that it is safe, that everybody feels like they have a voice. And so we've done a fantastic job with that. In fact, looking at the numbers, going all the way back to 2015 coming forward, we have the lowest turnover rate in the detention center and the sheriff's office to date.
Mr. Snyder, thank you. Restating that question, corrections work is stressful and often causes burnout. The work that happens behind jail walls carries a weight that few outside the system can fully understand. What can you do to alleviate that and keep staff? John Shipman.
You know, I've spent very little time in a jail, mainly just to bring a prisoner in of all the rest that I've made, take them in there. But I know what goes on behind those walls, and my hat has always been off to them. And especially if you're working a 12-hour shift, that's a long time to be behind the walls of a jail and what's behind those walls in a jail. So I want to make sure as sheriff that I spend some time in that jail. I want to make sure that I spend at least 1 week in that jail working. Every 3 months, whatever works out. But I want to be behind those walls as well. I don't want to just pass through, pat them on the back, smile at them, and say, I hope you're having a good day. I want to be back there with them. I want to be back there seeing what they're going through. But I also want to make sure that I check in with my supervisors, and my supervisors are watching their personnel. We don't need a jail employee being burned out, having a lot of stress go on, because that can lead to some problems back there. So As the sheriff of Greene County, I will assure you that I will work inside that jail. I will know what's going on inside that jail, but I will also work with my administrators to make sure that they are truly supervising those that are under them, making sure that, hey, we might have a trouble over here and maybe we need to get them out of the jail for a little bit and let them breathe and catch some fresh air doing something else. But we will watch that, because a jail, what they do back there is tough, and they see it day in and day out, and I think we need to work hard to make sure that we are taking care of the staff back there.
All right, thank you. Moving on to our next question, substance abuse and drug trafficking continue to impact communities. What is your plan to combat drug trafficking and substance abuse locally? And the question goes to John Shipman. You have a minute, 45 seconds.
I thank you for this question. I was ready for this question. Canines. We got to bring back the canines to the Greene County Sheriff's Office if we are truly, truly going to fight the war on drugs. We have got to work with the 2nd Judicial Drug Task Force and help them get them guys into Greene County and get serious about fighting drugs and fighting the drugs in Greene County. I personally don't know when's the last time there's been a drug arrest in Greene County. I'm not saying there's not been one, I just don't know when there was one, especially one of large scale. I know one time when I was a canine officer in Jonesboro, I did go to Greene County and help them with my canine. They didn't have one at the time either. We got probably one of the largest drug arrests that's probably still on the books in Greene County today. But I've worked with the 2nd Judicial Drug Task Force. I've been to many classes, many schools as a canine officer, and fighting drugs is something that I know a little bit about. And that is something as a sheriff of Greene County that I promise you that I'm going to be very serious about, because we got to get the ones that are bringing that in, we've got to get them out of Greene County. And matter of fact, when I win in March, they're going to be put on notice. Do not come to Greene County. I will bring in all the resources that are available to me, and we will start the day I'm elected arresting those that are bringing drugs into Greene County.
All right, thank you, Mr. Shipman. Again, restating that question, substance abuse and drug trafficking continue to impact communities. What is your plan to combat drug trafficking and substance abuse locally? Brad Snyder.
So we are a member of the 2nd Judicial Drug Task Force. I do have a couple of deputies that do work primarily narcotics. They are assigned to patrol, but they are in tune with any intel that we get. Anything that we receive gets forwarded to them to check out and also to maybe sit and do some surveillance and whatnot. Substance abuse has been an issue for the beginning of time, I would imagine. Those of you that grew up in the 60s remember LSD, PCP, marijuana, and it has progressed throughout the decades. So this war on drugs, we've got to keep fighting it. We do. But the pipe dream that we're ever going to get rid of them out of anywhere, county, city, state, is not possible. We know that. We have to know that. But that doesn't mean that we quit trying and that we quit caring. We see a lot of our inmates that come in and out of our jail that are drug abusers. And so it's frustrating for us to see that and see that they keep coming back, and it's a revolving door. Programs that need to be instituted, again, I'm a supporter of that. I have worked with other agencies, other entities to try to get that started. But at the end of the day, money is always an issue. Facilities are always an issue, and the jail, a county jail, is not the place to try to fight the drug problem inside the jail.
Mr. Snyder, thank you. You're watching the 2026 Greene County Sheriff's Debate. We'll be back in a few minutes with viewer questions.
Getting to the bottom of the story and finding solutions. K8 Investigates is here for you.
People work all their life to build a nest egg, and it's gone in 25 seconds.
When you need answers, we find the truth, getting eyewitness accounts and telling your side of the story.
It happened to us, so it can happen to anyone.
You deserve a news team dedicated to bringing you answers. K8 Investigates. Watch all our investigations right here on K8 Now.
K8 24/7 Weather is your round-the-clock access to Region 8 weather. Daily forecast, up-to-the-minute radar, and live weather cams airing 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Watch K8 24/7 weather exclusively on K8 Now and on KAIT8.com.
Welcome back to our debate for Greene County Sheriff. We now want to get away from our questions and take the ones that you've sent in from home. Griffin Broussard joins us in the studio with those right now. Griffin.
Thank you very much, Diana. This question comes from Laureen Freyer in Paragould. What is your opinion on following a judge's orders? Will you enforce them or state it's a civil matter?
Thank you, Griffin. And that question goes to John Shipman. And a reminder, you have a minute 45 seconds.
That question is a good one. It says she wants to know if we will enforce them. Of course we will. We will enforce any law that is constitutional. We will enforce all constitutional laws, state laws, and our city and county ordinances. Civil matters are exactly that, a civil matter. We will make sure that whoever we're speaking to with an issue, they will understand that if it is a civil matter, that they're going to have to seek the warrant process on their own. But I want to take that one step further. I want to make sure that when we do that, that they know how to get us a warrant. I get asked all the time about how do I go about obtaining a warrant for someone. So as sheriff, we will enforce all the laws, fair, equally across the board. We will hold up the Constitution. We will abide by that. But if it's a civil matter, it is going to be a civil matter. We're going to explain to them that it is a civil matter, and then we're going to make sure that they understand how to act on that.
All right, thank you. Now, restating that question again, what is your opinion on following a judge's orders? Will you enforce them or state it's a civil matter? Brad Snyder.
Well, I think it all depends on what the order is. Most judges' orders, they come from civil court out of the circuit division, whether it be for a divorce, child custody. Those are two of the main ones. Understand that law enforcement, as far as judge orders go, nobody can be held in contempt by us. It has to be the judge that finds them in contempt. We are able to, on criminal matters that are court orders, we can cite that person into court for contempt, but only the judge can find that person in contempt of their order. And so on a criminal order, obviously that changes things. If it comes out of criminal court, there are some remedies that we can do. But by and large, most court orders that I believe that Ms. Freyer is referencing are going to be those that are civil in nature. And so those are going to be contact your attorney and file a contempt of court order, or get it back in court before the judge, so that the judge can determine if they are in fact in contempt of that order. We don't write those orders. It's the judge that writes those orders. And so because of that, it's their order to determine if they are in contempt.
Brad Snyder, thank you. Now, Griffin has a few more questions.
This next viewer question comes from William Wagner from Paragould as well. There have been multiple efforts to build a bike trail down 707 Road. The plan seems nonsensical and fits the pattern of mismanagement Paragould has seen in recent years. Will you advocate against this hazardous and wasteful proposal? The residents are against it and would like their sheriff to share those concerns.
And so that question goes to Brad Snyder. You have a minute 45 seconds.
So this issue falls completely out of the realm of what the sheriff does. We enforce the law, we uphold county ordinances, and as far as anything being built, anything being property being bought, taken, eminent domain, all those things are outside the sheriff's wheelhouse. We don't get involved with those. If something were to take place, if that trail were to be built, and I have not heard any signs or information that that's going to happen, then obviously that becomes an enforcement issue, safety issue, potentially, that we would address when the time came. But as far as whether or not that gets put in there, that is, again, outside the Office of the Sheriff's wheelhouse.
All right, and John Shipman, your response to that same question.
I really don't have much more to add than what Brad just said. That doesn't fall anywhere on the shoulders of the sheriff. That falls on the county judge in the Quorum Court. I live out in that area. I know there's a lot of concerns about that bike trail coming across. At one time, it was a very hot topic, but I don't know what's going on with it right now. But again, as sheriff, I think the only thing we can do is if it does go through out there, just like Brad said, try to keep people safe, but it just doesn't have anything to do with the sheriff.
All right, moving on to our next question. Viewers have expressed concerns regarding the well-being of individuals held in the county jail. What steps will you take to ensure the safety and humane treatment of inmates in the county jail? And that question begins with John Shipman, and a reminder, you have 1:45 seconds.
That's an excellent question. And jails all around are having a hard time. And mostly they're having a hard time because of the mentally ill. The mentally ill, I don't have the exact percentages, but it's probably 30-40%, but we all know that our county jails have become the new mental health holding facility. Here's what I'll do as sheriff. First of all, we're going to make sure that if someone comes in having a mental illness crisis, we're going to make sure that we get them seen immediately by the medical staff. We're going to make sure, most of the time when a mentally ill get arrested, they don't have their medication with them. So we're going to find out if there's family or what who can bring their medication to them. I know of stories out of the jail where a mentally disabled veteran broke his glasses and he sat in the jail for 3 months without his glasses and he's legally blind. We cannot do that. So when it comes to the jail, we got to, when people are in jail, that is somebody's son, daughter, husband, wife, father, however you want to say it, aunt, uncle, and we got to make sure that they're just being treated exactly how they should be treated. But we got to pay extra care to our mentally ill and our veterans. That is a hard job. I know the jail's a hard job, and probably there'd be a lot more people run for sheriff if there wasn't a jail involved. But under my administration, I will ensure that they get what they need. I will make sure that their medical needs are seen and that they get to their doctor's appointments, and we will treat them like a human being.
All right, John Shipman, thank you. What steps will you take to ensure the safety and humane treatment of inmates in the county jail? Brad Snyder.
So immediately upon taking office, I began working on our jail control system and the surveillance cameras within the jail. When I took office, we had approximately 175 cameras facility-wide, which was not near enough. Also, our jail control system was starting to malfunction. So I immediately started working on plans to work on getting that replaced. I'm happy to say that we've been able to do that at a cost of $2.1 million. We have revamped all of the security cameras inside the jail and around the facility, and more than doubling that amount of cameras that we had before. We employ a medical company on site to see all of our inmates. They are required to answer medical questionnaires, and they are quizzed by medical staff upon being booked in. We do have a system in place that when one of the questions asked, are you a veteran? And that is noted, and we have assisted veterans with getting into veterans court and things of that nature if it is applicable. So we take safety of the inmates and our employees very seriously at the Greene County Detention Center, and we strive every day to ensure that everybody's taken care of and that they receive their medications and that they are seen by medical professionals if they need to. Very quickly, the Sheriff's Association last legislative session did work on getting 16 extra restorative beds in the Arkansas State Hospital for the mentally ill, so that we can get them out of our jail quicker to be seen for forensic evaluations to determine if they are suitable for trial.
Brad Snyder, thank you. And you're watching the 2026 Greene County Sheriff's Debate. We'll be back in a few minutes. Join K8 and First Community Bank as we celebrate a decade of kindness. For 10 years, we've shared heartwarming stories of our neighbors who made it their mission to serve others and put their community first. Join us for a family-friendly special as we reflect on some of our favorite moments. A decade of kindness streaming exclusively here on K8 Now.
Your next adventure is just a short drive away.
Hello, friend. I'm Chris Hughes. Let's take a road trip, shall we?
Right along with K8 and R&R Tire Express as we find all the ultimate getaways for the whole family to enjoy. There's so many places nearby for you to explore. We're talking museums, parks, attractions, and the best mouth-watering food you've ever laid your eyes on.
If you're looking for your next getaway, all you need to do is take a road trip.
Only on KAIT8.com and K8 Now. Sponsored by R&R Tire Express.
Welcome back to our debate for Greene County Sheriff. Technology is reshaping our landscape with new innovations emerging constantly. A question from our community has to do with how do you plan to use technology to improve law enforcement operations and public safety? Brad Snyder, your answer, and a reminder, you have a minute 45 seconds.
So technology in our world anymore is monstrous. And so most of the cases that our criminal division deals with involve some sort of telephone, cellular phone, tablet, computer, whether it be computer crimes and fraud, or unfortunately child pornography and things of that nature on devices. I was able to ascertain a $60,000 grant from the Arkansas Department of Public Safety this past year and used it to purchase a device called Greene that is able to be used for cracking phones, computers in search of illegal activity. So we've instituted that just this year. We've also upgraded all our camera systems in our cars and our body cameras, specifically to the body cameras so that they are not external. They're not mounted external to fall off or get broken. So we've upgraded in that regard as well. Again, I'll touch back on the technology back in the jail. We've upgraded the entire jail control system, including the camera system. We have a new jail management software that integrates with our current report management software and our computer-aided dispatch so that all of those talk to one another, and officers, no matter where they're at in the county, can have an individual halfway booked into jail prior to even arriving at the jail. So we are steadily working on improving and purchasing more technology as we can.
Mr. Snyder, thank you. John Shipman, how do you plan to use technology to improve law enforcement operations and public safety?
I have several ideas. Some of them I'm going to steal from the city of Jonesboro. They're in the process of putting, I hope I can tell this, we're putting together a drone vehicle. Drones, as we know, can cover a lot of area, and we're going to. If I'm sheriff of Greene County, I will see to it that we have. I don't know if I want to call it a drone division, but we will have drones. We will be able to put them up in the air and see what's going on, and whether we're looking for a vulnerable adult, lost child, or a fugitive, or if we're fixing to hit a house with a search warrant, we can put that drone up and see the layout of that. That's safety for the officers. I don't know what kind of obviously camera system the Greene County Sheriff's Office has at this time, but technology. We got to make sure that when it comes to body cameras that we have the best that's out there. We live in a world where you've got to record what you're doing, and under my administration, we are going to do that. We're going to record every call that we go on. Now, I know sometimes there's going to be interactions between deputies and the citizens, and they won't get that on camera. They don't have to. But if it's a call for service under my administration, the body camera is going to be on. It's going to be recorded. We're not going to be dubbing over. We can't find it. We don't know what happened. We're going to make sure that we have the state-of-the-art technology for body cameras. It's so important, and that will happen under my administration. They're going to have to come back to the sheriff's office, get it downloaded, get it tagged, so we can pull it back up when we need it. You never know know what that body camera will capture as far as evidence goes. So there's a wide range of things to have in technology. We're fortunate down here in Jonesboro to be way ahead of the scale on that. So I want to take my experience down here, I want to bring it to Greene County and make sure that the citizens, when it comes to technology, are getting the service that they deserve.
Mr. Shipman, thank you. The next question, effective governance depends on a foundation of trust between elected officials and the communities they serve. In an era where residents are increasingly seeking accountability and meaningful engagement, how do you plan to increase transparency and communication with residents? And that question goes to John Shipman. You have a minute, 45 seconds.
If I'm understanding the question right, it's asking how do I plan to increase transparency and communication with the residents? Okay, that's simple. Transparency needs to be just that. It's not just a word. Transparency is not a gift. It is a requirement. And if you're going to be transparent, you got to be transparent about everything. You do not get to pick and choose when it comes to being transparent when you're in the law enforcement, because you will lose the respect of the community, you will lose the respect of everyone if you want to be transparent about this but not transparent about that. You can't cover this up. You got to tell the public exactly what happened. So if you're going to have someone that you let go from your sheriff's office and you're going to tell the public why you let this person go, and then you let someone else go and you don't tell the public about it, and they find out later that it was quite an ordeal why they were let go. That's not transparency. So if you want to be transparent and you want to communicate with the residents, you got to turn the comments back on underneath the sheriff's department page. That in today's world, digital town squares and the water cooler is social media. That's how that you get dialogue back and forth between you and your community. So transparency and communication with the public has to be 100%. You've got to do it all the time. You don't pick and choose. If you pick and choose, you're going to lose respect of your citizens.
John Shipman, thank you. Again, posing that question, how do you plan to increase transparency and communication with the residents? Brad Snyder.
Well, I think that transparency and communication has been much better than it has been in the past, sheriff's terms. The thing that most folks don't understand is there are protections for people. Mr. Shipman referenced releasing information about employees and whatnot. If they're charged criminally, then obviously that gets announced, that gets put out there. If they're terminated for a policy violation or something along that line, those employees have rights. They have appeals process through the EEOC. Employment law is a thing, and I'm sure Mr. Shipman's maybe not aware of all those by not being involved in an administrative role in his career. But there are things that we cannot release. There are things that we cannot say, and so those are protected so that they have due process. Again, if they're charged with a crime, employees, then sure, we have to release that because it's on a probable cause affidavit, and it is put out there that they were terminated. But transparency, I've done that from the day one with our Facebook page. My phone's there at the office. People can call me and ask questions anytime. They just don't, and they want to utilize the Facebook page. And so as far as I'm concerned, that's an informational page, and it's got 28,000 followers. If people want to share it and view their viewpoints, that's open. But we're not going to have a spitting match in the comments section.
Brad Snyder, thank you. As this debate comes near a conclusion, what is your long-term vision for the Sheriff's Office and its role in the community? Brad Snyder, you have a minute, 45 seconds.
Historically, sheriff's offices are, used to there were 2-year terms, now they're 4. And so the employees find it difficult to remain there just for the fact that there's not 100% security there with their positions. A new sheriff comes in, may make some changes. And so I want to make sure that number one, if possible, through your help, I'm there long term to give them, those employees, that stability. But the role in the community is for us to be involved. Throughout my career, I have been on school boards. I have been on community fund boards. I have been on committees. And so putting ourselves out there, and I encourage my employees to do the same, to be a part of their community, to be a part of those processes. And so going forward, just encouraging my people to get involved and to seek a better future for them, as far as not just in the department, but in the community as a whole. I think if we spread that out department-wide, it makes our community better. It makes our leaders in the future better. I always like to say that my job is to train people to replace me, and so I take that very seriously. And if they have those opportunities to go out and be community leaders themselves, then that's what I would like to see.
Mr. Snyder, thank you. John Shipman, what is your long-term vision for the Sheriff's Office and its role in the community?
My vision for the Sheriff's Office in the future is to build on what I've been saying as I'm running. Build on the K-9 program, build on a mounted patrol, bring back the reserve program, utilize our elected constables, get out in our communities and build a neighborhood watch programs. Make sure that we are training our deputies and getting them all the training and they have all the equipment that they need to get their job done. The plan for the Sheriff's Office for me is to build it at the beginning and continue to grow from that. Let's add more deputies. We're talking about all the money that we talk about all the money that the Sheriff's Office brings in through the state and federal grants contract. I like it, but I do have a question about that. What happens if that program ceases to exist? We don't build a house on a part-time job. So I hope that is a program that's going to stay in place and stay in place for a while, because that is a very good way to build a sheriff's office. They're very lucky to have that kind of money coming in to be able to get the wages up for the sheriff and the personnel that's underneath him. We have a chance in Greene County to have a very strong sheriff's office with what we have going on, and I'm excited to get in and see where we need to start it first and take off.
Mr. Shipman, thank you, and we'll be back in a few minutes for closing statements.
K8 24/7 Weather is your round-the-clock access to Region 8 weather. Daily forecast, up-to-the-minute radar, and live weather cams airing 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Watch K8 24/7 Weather exclusively on K8 Now and on KAIT8.com.
Join K8 and First Community Bank as we celebrate a decade of kindness. For 10 years, we've shared heartwarming stories of our neighbors who made it their mission to serve others and put their community first. Join us for a family-friendly special as we reflect on some of our favorite moments. A decade of kindness streaming exclusively here on K8 Now. It's time for your closing statements. We start with John Shipman, and a reminder, you have 2 minutes.
Thank you. And once again, thank y'all for having this debate. I am John Shipman, and I am running for Greene County Sheriff. You can go to my Elect John Shipman page. I have laid out several of my ideas, my policies, and my plans for the Greene County Sheriff's Office. Today I've talked about the K-9 division. It's got to come back to Greene County. I've talked about establishing a mounted patrol. That's so important when it comes to looking for someone that's lost or vulnerable, or we have a fugitive on the ground. We cannot keep waiting for people to come help us in Greene County. We have got to be the help. I'm the sheriff that will make that happen. You have my promise. We've talked about transparency. I'm going to be transparent. I'm not going to pick and choose. I will let you know what I can let you know about what's going on with the Sheriff's Office. I will build on the transparency, but I want to close with this right here. I'm going to start a youth intervention program at the Sheriff's Office. I want to call it the SOC, Save Our Children. This will be a voluntary program where you as parents that are struggling with your children or grandparents, I find in today's world that a lot of grandparents are raising their grandchild. If you're struggling and you're up against the wall and you don't know what to do, we're going to have a program at the Sheriff's Office that's going to be strictly voluntary, and you can bring your child to the Sheriff's Office, and we will have mental health facility personnel on hand. We will have faith-based leaders involved. We will have community leaders involved, and we will have former drug addicts and people who have went down the wrong road come in and talk to these children, and hopefully we can get them straightened out and get them back on track. That is one thing that will happen very fast under my administration. I have spoke to people out in the community and they said, we never heard of that. What a wonderful ideal that will be. Want to make it voluntary. We can't force them to stay, so you have to be around to take your child if they're going to be defiant and not listen. But that is just one of the programs that I want to start at the Sheriff's Office. I need your vote and support. I'm John Shipman, candidate for Greene County Sheriff. Thank you.
John Shipman, thank you. And Brad Snyder, you have your closing statement, 2 minutes.
I tell the story that my first full day at the office as the sheriff, I put a notepad on my desk, numbered with my tasks or my plan tos, if you will. On day 3 of being the sheriff, that notepad went in the trash. If there's one thing that I can tell you about being the sheriff, is it is not what you think it is, and you do not have the time that you think you do. It is a mammoth undertaking. I too had specific things that I wanted to accomplish. I've been able to do most of those. But oftentimes you're limited by time and money. And so understand, there's an old saying that the road to hell is paved with good intentions. And we all have great intentions. We wouldn't serve in this role as law enforcement officers if we didn't have good intentions. But there are stumbling blocks that occur. We have made we've made tremendous leaps and bounds on what we've accomplished. Again, the jail control systems. We've upgraded our fleet. We've done a lot of things technology-wise behind the scenes. And so we're going to continue to do those things, and we're going to continue serving our residents. We are out, extra patrols, we stay on the gravel, and that's where we are needed by our residents. And so I think that my track record speaks for itself with the citizens of Greene County, and I thank you for electing me in 2022, and I hope that you'll do the same in 2026.
Brad Snyder, thank you. And thank you, candidates, for joining us, and you at home. Early voting kicks off for the March primary elections on Tuesday, February 17th. Election Day is Tuesday, March 3rd. You can watch the entire debate again on our website, KAIT8.com, the K8 News app, and on our streaming platform, K8 Now. On behalf of K8, I'm Diana Davis.